It was meant to be a high-stakes intellectual showdown at one of the world's most prestigious debating societies. But just hours before it was supposed to start, the whole thing collapsed. So, what went wrong? Well, it depends on who you ask. The Pakistan High Commission in London was quick to release a statement. They claimed the Indian side, which was originally supposed to feature big names like former Army Chief General Naravane and Dr. Subramanian Swamy, had withdrawn at the last minute. They painted it as a walkover, suggesting India lacked the confidence to defend its policies on a neutral stage. Essentially, they were saying India chickened out, but hold on. Because the Indian Speaker Jai Deepak, a prominent lawyer, has a completely different story, and he brought the receipts. In a detailed account on X, formerly Twitter, Deepak called out what he described as an organizational failure and a deliberate Pakistani gambit to avoid the debate altogether. He says the whole event was shaky from the start. He pointed out that key figures in the Oxford Union's leadership were of Pakistani origin, including the president, Musa Harai, who he alleged is the son of Pakistan's Minister of Defense Production. According to Deepak, the trouble began when the original high-profile Indian speakers had to pull out just 2 days before the event due to unavoidable commitments. This left the Indian side scrambling for replacements. Deepak, who was already on board, managed to bring in Manu Khajuria and pundit Satish K. Sharma, both based in the UK, to step up on very short notice. The new Indian team was ready to go. They were all set to travel to Oxford for the showdown. And then, just hours before the debate, the final nail in the coffin. At 3:13 p.m. on the day of the event, Deepak says he received a call. The message was that the Pakistani delegation, which included heavyweights like former Foreign Minister Hina Rabbani Khan and Defense Minister Khawaja Mohammad Asif, hadn't even landed in London yet. They were supposedly still in the air. Hearing this, the Indian team, naturally, decided there was no point in making the journey to Oxford. If their opponents weren't even in the country, what was there to debate? So, they stood down. But here's where the story takes a truly bizarre turn. A little while later, Deepak claims he received confirmation that the Pakistani delegation had, in fact, landed. Not only had they landed, but they were already checked into a hotel in Oxford. This revelation completely changed the narrative. If they were in Oxford all along, why was the Indian team told they hadn't landed? This led Deepak to unleash a blistering attack. He accused the Pakistani side of deserting the battlefield. Even before the battle begins, he suggested they simply lacked the courage to face a live, unscripted debate against a prepared Indian team. He didn't spare the Oxford Union's leadership either, criticizing them for allowing the prestigious institution to be dragged in the muck. India's story, spearheaded by Jai Deepak, is one of deception. They claim they were ready to debate, even with a hastily assembled team. They allege they were misled into believing the Pakistani delegation wasn't even in the country, causing them to cancel their travel plans. Then, they discovered the Pakistani team was in Oxford all along, leading them to conclude that Pakistan engineered the entire cancellation to avoid facing them. When you look at the details, Deepak's account raises some serious questions about the organization and communication from the Oxford Union. Why would the Indian team be told the Pakistani delegation hadn't landed if they were already in Oxford? This key piece of misinformation is what triggered the final collapse. It shifts the blame from the Indian side, withdrawing to them being actively misled. This incident has unfortunately tarnished what should have been a moment for robust intellectual exchange. The Oxford Union is supposed to be a bastion of free speech and rigorous debate. Instead, it became the stage for a political soap opera. Deepak's accusation that the Union's leadership allowed it to become a pawn in this game is a serious one. It suggests a potential conflict of interest and a failure to maintain the neutrality for which the institution is famous. The core of the issue seems to be a classic case of political maneuvering, trumping intellectual discourse. The Pakistani side might have preferred the PR victory of a walkover to the risk of a live debate where their arguments could be publicly dismantled. By creating a situation where the Indian team was forced to stand down, they could control the narrative and claim India was afraid, without ever having to actually defend their position. This whole fiasco highlights the deep-seated mistrust and rivalry between the two nations, which can spill over into even academic forums. Instead of a debate on policy, we got a masterclass in political gamesmanship. The real loser here isn't India or Pakistan. It's the principle of open and honest debate. The audience who came clack ideas was left with nothing but confusion and recrimination. What do you think really happened? Was it a genuine misunderstanding and a series of unfortunate events? Or was it a calculated move by one side to dodge a difficult conversation? The evidence presented by Deepak certainly suggests a deliberate gambit. And what does this say about the state of India-Pakistan relations?